All right, we are here with Dreamerz. We're going to be talking about some of these global events that are breaking out and some of the things that are being seen in the most recent goings. Also tying in with the firmament, but the first clip we want to start off with is this clip right here that was seen at the Olympics. And I just wanted to get your take on what do you think we're looking at here when they showed this is predictive programming. They were showing this predictive programming right here showed a spy balloon, and it showed United States uh, Statue of Liberty, and it looked like it was kind of devastated. So I just wanted to see what your perspective on that was. We're going to go into a lot of other things like these swarms starting to come out recently. Is the Earth activity going into a new shift or what?
Okay. Is it a video that you're going to play, or is it just this picture?
Let's see right here. There it is. It's just a picture right now. So you like that's the video, but it's a picture. I
Okay.
was expecting it to be a video, but we can still like basically all they showed was it go up. It was only like 5 seconds anyway.
All that stuff with the Olympics, man, every single Olympics every year, it's just getting like they used to hide any kind of ritualistic, strange, Luciferian, satanic looking things and deals. It's they don't even hide it now. It's like they just put it right out there. It's got nothing to do with sports. It's got nothing to do with competition. It's like a big fat red flag and a warning to all the people, you're going down. Like, they
Yeah,
got even the Statue of Liberty. That's there's a lot of people that speculate that that's basically a statue of Lucifer unchained, and that brings forth the season of Satan and like a negative energy in the world that we live in, which helps to explain the degradation of society and why everything is so base and immoral and upside down, and the truth is a lie and the lie is a truth.
yeah, man, it's really wild the fact that they this year they came out. And remember during the last period they showed the COVID stuff and they showed all the ritualistic things. But like I want to say, it was July 18th. This was a couple days before all of this went down. We're gonna pull this up because we've seen the dragon swarms, the dragonfly swarms. But here's an article in it's called Lativia, where they're basically showing like a bunch of swarms of these bugs just everywhere. And it's strange because you have that happen, you have the dragonflies. The dragonflies can symbolize new beginnings, though. So are we seeing the end or are we seeing a new beginning? I think it could be in between both. We're going to play the video clip of some of the swarms that nobody's seen. Latvia, I think, is another country. And so this is not going to be something that most people were showing. We're gonna pull the clip up here in just a few. It's loading right now. Everything is happening in live time though. So if you see a little delay, don't worry. Here it is right here.
Oh my God.
It's
Oh my
freaking cool.
God. That looks like snow.
I know it do look like snow. Freaking wild, man.
What kind of bugs are these? Moths?
It looks like they're like moths.
Damn.
Look closer to them. And it's crazy, like it's just a handful of them. Like he just picked up a handful of them. I got another clip too, of the same thing, but like a different scenario. And I'm gonna show the dragonfly one again too, because the dragonfly one was after the Olympics. So like to me, I feel like it's kind of symbolic that all this happens in a spiritual sense and just like signs in the universe type of sense. But
Yeah,
that's a
definitely.
junk load he just picked up. So here's the other clip right here.
Kukaiņi. Pilns miljoniem kukaiņu. Tā kā visa zeme ir kā ar sniegu. Tu sāk slīdēt.
So yeah,
Šiem kukaiņiem sāk slīdēt.
Wow.
so yeah, it's
Šeit
completely wild.
vienkārši.
That's what's going on there. So on the other aspects of everything, I found out something really strange as well about just how the artificial sun and everything else was being activated around certain times, and I found some details that's really strange. What do you think those, Jay? Like, is this signs that the universe or that God is showing us
Yeah.
as we move into this season with
Mm-hmm.
all these rituals, and then August, a stir off, the attacks are going to begin because the spiritual attacks and demonology, the demon class of families, they've known to push attacks in the month of August, and so that's why we spiritually need to be really
Mm-hmm.
prepared for these moments coming. And like every one of us, every ounce of our soul is going to take every piece of energy in you to, and it's going to come in different ways. It could be through family, it could be through friends, it could be just somebody outside. I mean, I
Yeah.
see people walk to me and they like look like they want to walk through me, and I'm like, something tries to trigger me. I'm like, man, I'm not going to get mad about this. I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
These
Yeah.
are entities, and people are letting these entities go into them, and they also float ideas to you. They might say, hey, go and take this person out or do this to somebody, and you don't even feel like, like, wait a minute, this is not me. So we got to realize these ideas are going to be being floated to us,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not us. I just want to hear what Jay got to say on the other points, and then we're going to move into some other details as well.
Yeah, these are all connected. Like you were saying, everything is all connected. So when we see signs and omens or harbingers of things to come on small scales, even in the bug world, especially with things like swarming, when you see a lot of insects swarming, or when I see a lot of insects swarming, it reminds me of like, we think about the judgment that was cast upon Egypt and the swarms of bugs that they encountered during the 10 plagues. Um, there's been many different swarms. The locusts, remember how they just had those two I forgot what they call them, groups of locusts, to emerge at the same time. All these different bugs, they start getting agitated because the energy seems to be becoming amplified in the world that we live in, which I believe also might even take us to, what happened in Yellowstone and all these gases that are being released by the earth right now, earthquakes, earthquake lights, all the strange lights in the sky. Um, the holes that are opening up in the ground. What do they call those?
The
Sinkholes.
sinkholes, yeah.
Yeah, sinkholes. So what happens is in within bugs, but within everything, whenever the energy becomes amplified, uh, living beings become agitated. So a bunch of grasshoppers turns into a swarm of locusts that are basically
I forgot about
angry,
that.
and humans respond in a similar form.
Yeah.
So what we see happening on the small scale with the insect world will also spill over into the animal world, and we'll see the animals going off in their migrational patterns because of the frequency disruptions and the fluctuations that are happening on the earth. And then we see humans getting together and becoming more agitated, which leads to attacks and war. And these are all signs and symptoms of things that happen leading up to cataclysms and apocalyptic cycles.
Yeah, and then like they said in the beginning of this year, I'm gonna pull it up really quick for everybody. Like the year of the dragon, correct? That's what it is. And I remember seeing this article in the beginning of the year, and it was talking about how the Dragon King and everything else was coming. And let's pull it up though. Appreciate that $20 super chat. Trying to see who donated that. We're gonna pull this article up for you to see though exactly what I'm saying about this scenario. So the Dragon King, and then they show this seismic map. Here it is. I'm gonna pull it up on screen. So here it is. Earthquakes. Here you go. Just wait for the slide to open up. Earthquakes. Research traces the pace of an approaching seismic Dragon King. And then when you look at the seismic activity, these Japan researchers, it's going to pop up on screen. They show where it's like this long looking thing. It was the shape of a dragon. It's going to come up here in a few. There it is right there. So look at the shape of that. To me, it looks like the shape of a dragon for sure, or like some snake like thing. You could say the activation of Leviathan, you could say the activation of something else. But however, that's interesting because the next part I'm going to take you into in this month, we also seen something in the atmosphere that was like ethereal, meaning spiritual. So what it was, they had this like, it was like this dragon looking thing that showed up. And I got that clip, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. It's actually just a photo, but this is showing that the spiritual gates looks like they're opening, not just opening on a level of, oh, where something bad is going to happen, but opening on all levels, letting us see from everything. It says your browser's having problems sharing this one. All right, so what we're gonna do, let Jay just go ahead and talk about a little bit of this, and then we're gonna pull up the clip that I'm talking about.
Right on. Yeah, the Leviathan, all the symbolism of serpents and dragons. I split it into two different categories. One is physical, actual creatures, monsters, cryptids, or what I call phantazoids, that come up from the hollow recesses of the world, or that descend whenever the skies, there's times when the portals open in the heavens above us, and creatures can come down, they can descend. So there's the physical dragons and leviathans and behemoths and monsters of old and great beasts and fantastic beasts, like how the movie says fantastic beasts. And then we got energetic or ethereal, serpentine like creatures that are what I believe is electromagnetic phenomenon or plasma
This
that's
right here.
undulating. Ooh, that's a good one. Look at that.
This was in July when they just this came out recently. They caught it above the sky. I mean, even the live science was saying like this looks like a dragon. It does look like a dragon. If you look at it, you can see the wings, you can see the head.
Mm-hmm.
July 2024, it is getting freaking wild out here. So, and this was the year where they showed bones. There was like, this is dragon bones. They showed this dragon's bones. And so we can see that in the atmosphere is not just our current normal average season. This, for some reason, is heightening. A lot of people say the veil is thinning. I've been seeing entities since I was a kid, but I ain't seen nothing
Mm-hmm.
like the atmosphere. It's wild. I mean,
Yeah, and this is on the news all the time. Remember when we were kids growing up, they didn't used to be able to forecast the northern lights, coming down into Mexico or Spain or whatever. Now it's all over the place. They're talking about the northern lights. When to expect the northern lights? Will we see the northern lights tonight? You're not supposed to. That's an omen. That's a sign whenever the glory that surrounds the northern area of our world starts going way past its boundaries. When things start going past boundaries, that's a flux. That's a huge indicator. And this is similar to, like I said, like Leviathan. The root of Leviathan is the word lev, which is where we get love from, and it means to flow. Basically,
yeah.
that's why we say like the lavatory, or for like another word for bathroom, is the place where water flows or whatever. But these are the flowings of the electric fields that are going into flux around the North Pole and the Arctic, and that whole Arctic area, it's supposed to be a circle. Like the Northern Lights are supposed to be a stream or a river or an aurora, uh, or an Ouroboros type figure that just goes in a circle around the north. But now it's starting to look more like a starfish, and parts of it are reaching way further south, and it's going into flux, and it's having an effect. This is energy, and this is the energy of the world we live in and on. And it would be unwise for me not to think that energy doesn't reverberate throughout the world and reciprocate within the beings that live in this world. That we're going to have chaos. These are times of change, so we're going to start to see a lot of changes.
Yeah, that puts it in perspective a lot. The thing is like with the atmosphere, it's a lot of strange stuff going on. I mean, we talk about HARP and everything else, but it's more than just HARP. I was just looking up something recent about the firmament, and it's something called DARPA firmamentium. Firmamentium, the firmament, the sky above, the main point. And so the strengthening, this was some experiment that apparently they did, and this was back in a while back, but it still is strange that it was called firmamentium. And I'm going to move into the other parts of it here in just a second. And here's when you look up firmamentium, this is what you get. You get this circular thing, and you can see like the horse, half human, half horse. That's biblically, you can see that biblically in Bible verses. You can see snakes in there. That could symbolize
Yep.
Leviathan. But we're gonna read more into this DARPA experiment because DARPA does a lot of ionospheric experiments because they're still trying to figure out what's happening in the atmosphere. It's certain things that moves about that they still can't figure out, and they're still trying to. And I know we want to believe that the government is doing every single thing, but it's just some points to where they're not doing certain things, and there's a spiritual aspect that they can't even understand. So
Right.
moving past that, if you look down there at the bottom, it talks about where this firmamentium DARPA experiment or program, they talk about how this is something where they have these little like nano robot things that's in the atmosphere, and it's creating structures. And it's like, what are they creating with these structures? Because it shows on this photo I'm going to pull up here in a few. You see that little thing right there? It
Yeah,
looks like it's creating some circular like
like a
dome,
web. Is
like
it?
a web. It
What is it?
says
That looks like a robot spider making a web.
it really do. It looks like that. Fermentium strikes deal to demonstrate orbital manufacturing. Who's talking about this? Like, how do we even know what's going on here? You read into this here. Can you read that, Jay? I can't hardly see it.
Yeah, you want me to just read it?
Just the bottom portion of it.
It says Firmamentium is working on a technology known as trusselator, which is designed to fabricate large, lightweight, and then it kind of switched over.
All right, then I put it too fast.
Nah,
My bad.
you're
Anyway,
good.
it's like large, lightweight material in the atmosphere.
They're
That's
working on the firmament. They keep on going up there, and they keep on. They sent bombs up there. They're directing all their energy with HARP and all that stuff up at the firmament. That's a huge part of the world we live in, and it affects our weather systems, the energy on Earth. Go ahead.
nah. You could have keep going. I was gonna say it was something I was about to pull up though, since you just talked about the weather. So did a lot of y'all experience just crazy heat in June, like just unsustainable heat? Let me know in the comment section. If not, then we'll just move forward. But here's the thing: like it was super blazing hot, and supposedly on record, we broke records. And there's an archive right now I'm about to pull you into. You look at this article right here: how China's huge industrial supply chain will lead to artificial sun via ancient fusion. This is archive. Look at it. What does it say up there? Archive. For some reason, we got to archive this one. And if you read right there, in mid-June, on record, supposedly we got our hottest temperature breaking the record from last year. And so I put some pieces together, and it says June 2024 set to shatter heat record.
Yeah,
Well, it just so happens to be that in that article we just showed you, the artificial sun had just got turned on and turned up in the same exact month when we broke the hottest record. And then it says the 24th certainly to be the 13th consecutive because they like to use the number 13 in their, gematria codes. It's always something they do on that. But the thing is, they turned the artificial sun up. In that article, you just seen them say it. They got to their hottest record, and then now we hear the news. Only India today broke it and said, "Look, we reached our hottest records." And I know they say every year we reach our hottest record, but for them to do the artificial sun and this, it correlates a little bit too much strangely to me. What do you think about that, Jay?
I mean it's an omen. If every year we're having it's the hottest year on record, the hottest day on Earth. Just only a week ago or something, they said that it was the hottest day on average across the world ever recorded. And then the next day it broke that record. And we keep seeing stuff like that.
Yeah,
The temperature rising, things getting hotter and hotter. And it correlates with ancient prophecies, especially within Judaism and Christianity, where these patriarchs of old, they were told by God, and then it passed on, from firstborn to firstborn, that there would be two major cataclysms or two apocalyptic cycles. The first one would come by water. The second one would be a burning or a scorching through fire. That fire would descend from the heavens and start burning things. There's this one guy that posted a video. He's got a garden of tomatoes, and
I
the
just
sun
seen
was
that.
burning his tomatoes out in the garden. You see that?
Yeah, I just seen it recently, and it was
Yeah.
like they was turning orange, and he was saying he was like what 40 something years old, and he said he
Mhm.
hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, it's getting hotter and hotter. I mean, I think it's getting hotter. It seems to me it's getting hotter from above. So maybe something to do with the actual sun that, seems to be a source of heat up there. And then from the earth on the inside, the earth seems to actually be getting hotter. Even the, not just the surface temperatures of the ocean warming up, but all the way down throughout it. And then the gases are all being released. I think it might have something to do with radioactive decay. So the longer radioactive elements and isotopes and metals and crystals and stuff, the longer they go decaying, they give off all of this extra energy, and they give off more energy, and it leads to a heating inside of the earth. And that corresponds to an increase in gas that's created. So all this gas starts to build up inside of the earth, which leads to more and more frequent and larger earthquakes. And then, explosions like that one Yellowstone that we saw or whatever. And yeah, it's getting warmer all over the place. And then we're, humans don't help out with all the stuff that we contribute to these things too.
Here's that one thing we was going to talk about something happening in the atmosphere right here. It's going to pop up here in just a second, and people are asking, is that portals? Yeah, portals do open up around this. And here's the thing that you're going to talk about, Jay, right here. The X and C shaped bubbles are behaving bizarrely in the atmosphere. This just came out this month. When it comes up, you can read it because, like I said, from the backside, it's hard for me to see kind of the smaller words because I'm in a smaller screen.
Okay, I got it. Want me to read this right here?
Yeah.
The Earth's ionosphere protects us from harmful UV radiation, but despite the helpful protection, the slice of the Earth's atmosphere is incredibly complex. NASA's global scale observations of lemon disk, or gold, mission recently captured X and C-shaped plasma bubbles that could interfere with communications. Although these shapes have been seen before, gold captured them during quiet times and in immense proximity to one another, two things that scientists did not expect.
So what's going on with this one? I know you talk about plasma and stuff like that a lot with these supposed bubbles falling.
Yeah, they're seeing these strange shapes, all these plasma shapes. And the article even says these shapes have been seen in the slice of the atmosphere before, but usually during some moment of intense disturbance. So seeing these, they're saying, indicates an omen that there's some sort of a disturbance happening energetically in the world right now. And then there's also this part that says experts say that two of these shapes got so close together it had never been thought of and never had been imagined for these different types of plasma to interact with each other. And it's strange they call it gold and they're up there in the atmosphere. It's like an Anunnaki sort of reference, they needed gold for their atmosphere. But it says gold has only captured this arrangement twice, and scientists expect that it's likely due to some sort of strong turbulence, such as wind shear or even a tornado, that there's something going on that's an omen, something that's different. It's an anomaly.
That speaks to like all of the bugs and stuff we was just showing moving around and flying around. So again, like I want you to dive deeper in that just for a little second. I'm gonna come right back, so my screen might freeze up. But just dive a little bit deeper into this real quick.
Yeah. So like I said, all these gases, so plasma, all that plasma in the ionosphere, ionosphere simply means that's the part of the sky that's ionized. Those gases become ionized, which means that they're electrical in nature to the point of becoming plasmas, basically. Plasma doesn't always have to be in the visible spectrum. It can be in other spectrums. So sometimes people can actually pick up plasma on their closed circuit security cameras and stuff that they can't see with their own eyes, because those cameras have special lenses that allow to see light in the infrared or the UV spectrum. So sometimes people will capture ghosts on camera, or plasma or electromagnetic phenomena on camera, but the people that are actually there in real life, they don't see anything because it's only getting into that spectrum. But plasma can do so many different things, and it's high up in the atmosphere, and whenever it goes into flux, it changes. It reciprocates what's happening on our world, which is strange and intense weather patterns. They're talking about tornadoes disrupting, this plasma, because the plasma moves about with the winds as well. It follows its own electromagnetic currents and the currents that the world creates. But it can also easily just be swayed by a breeze or, the wind or whatever. And there's all these really weird wind atmospheric anomalies that people have been catching on radars. All the different radar systems that people post. There's one at the North Pole where you look at the winds that are high up in the atmosphere, and right at the North Pole, which is an interesting place for it to be, something's blocking all of the wind. It's all moving around an object at the exact center of the North Pole. But all these plasma, we got plasma inside. So I think there's a firmament, and I believe that there's plasma trapped under the firmament high above, and that there's different layers to the atmosphere above us, but also that there is plasma on the other side of that. But this plasma that they're seeing, it makes sense to me that it would correlate an increase in plasma and a fluctuation of that plasma, which is what this article is all about. It seems reasonable to correlate that with gases that are being expelled by the earth in mass as Mother Nature is about to give birth to a cataclysmic cycle once more. All these gases erupt, they go up into the atmosphere, they create fireballs, they can ignite, they can combust, they can electrify, they can do so many different things. Like oftentimes they're seen as just a slow moving fireball that goes over the world, or plasmoids, or little balls of light and orbs and stuff like that. People
Yeah.
see way more lights in the sky and stuff.
What you call it? I was gonna pull up. It was about the dome situation. Um, the whole dome is in Europe. It was an article coming out talking about how they trying to put up the dome over there. You know how Israel got a dome over them, and
Hmm.
so they were talking about they're getting ready to put that up in Europe. It hasn't been put up yet, and apparently it hasn't been put up in America. That's what one of the law enforcement sources was saying. He was saying like the enemies are trying to hurry up and attack us before they put the dome up. If you and it's a dome within a dome, so that's what they're trying to do. It's not like the firmament. They're trying to put a dome within a dome, which is symbolic as well. So in Colony, if you watch that, it's a series. They show that when the missiles was coming to attack, they put a dome over them, and then the missiles was hitting the dome.
Yeah.
So another thing is though, it was this one guy who he created. You know how we say the veil is thinning right now.
Right.
It was some technology this guy created where he had some glasses where you could look at like certain multi-dimensional beings. You can call them demons. You can call some of them angels. You can call whatever. I mean, there's so many of them out there. So I wanted to pull that up really quick because this was very interesting. Right now, I keep saying that my browser is having trouble pulling it up, but I'm going to eventually pull up in a few. So it's these glasses he has, and he's able to look through them. He's scanning, and then it shows like a bunch of different types of beings and stuff that he was seeing.
Right.
And like just recently, the demon face thing, where they were saying, "Oh, people who are going to start seeing demon faces, and they're going to diagnose you with some type of disorder." Totally false. We now enter the times where it's going to be a lot of people starting to see more if they haven't seen more. Somebody says, "Cool, just in time for Leviathan." And stuff like that. Yeah, we covered that part. I think I'm a little further back in the comment section here. I wanted to look at some of the other comments. Somebody says, love watching JWTV every day and J Dreamers. Definitely, I appreciate that. So what is everybody feeling like? Like we said, in the month of August is going to be massive spiritual attack. So if you're already feeling like you're getting spiritually attacked, you probably should just try to ground yourself. The ions from the earth is very helpful. That's what I do. I always say that's what I do because you can't recommend anybody do anything because that's the parameters of society, the PG parameters. Like, oh yeah, you got to go to somebody else telling you to do something because they went and got a degree and got brainwashed, but somebody else who didn't get brainwashed can't tell you that because we've set up paperwork and laws so that we can make sure that we can keep you in this monarchical celestial control because that's all it is, a monarch celestial control system trying to encapsulate our minds. And at the same time, it's like, oh, we prepare for all these situations. We prepare for pandemics, and we getting ready, and we got the bio defense department and all that. Next thing you know, oh well, America is not prepared for a pandemic, and oh, now the world is not prepared for a pandemic, and it's like because you're setting us up, and it's like when are we gonna stop falling for the
Yeah.
setups? We're gonna stop complaining. When are we gonna stop going along just to get along and saying like, oh well, that person is doing it, so now I need to do it.
Right.
It's like no, it's like we got to man up, we got to woman up, and we got to attain the spiritual goals that we came here to attain because everything is a spiritual journey. We're all learning, and once we leave this body, this flesh suit, I mean, I've kind of already left it in this outer body experience type of way when I drowned it as a kid. So I think I just have less fear because of that. It's not that I think I'm invisible or invincible. It's that I just already kind of been to that level, and I think they say you get reborn again, right? It's like you get baptized, you get reborn again. But like in some, even in the Native American culture, they would go to water to purify spirits out of them. So they would purify these spirits. They go out to the water, and it was like waterfalls that was really clear, really clean. Now today, I've seen it being done where even growing up, where pastor I know, which she's like a grandma, she prays over for 7 days. She's not in this negative state. She's not in a crazy state where she's like, oh, everything is calm. She's fasting. And after 7 days, I guarantee you, I've seen this
Hmm.
multiple times. People heal from cancer straight up. And that's because the energy of water is programmable. A lot of stuff in this universe is programmable.
Yeah.
And that's the key, really. It's like if you're afraid of something, you're gonna get that, or if you're chasing something, it's gonna run away from you. And it's kind of like if we see things from a different level, we can kind of achieve the society we want at large. If you're healthy, right, the next person might be healthy, and then it might be some people that's unhealthy. But if we can consistently try for our own individual selves to get better at just a few things per day, we can start to change our own society in the way we think. Most of these societies operated around grid lines and stuff like different areas was like it's like some areas you can go to. I can go to areas like Louisiana and I can feel the grid line and it's just low, really weird feeling.
Right.
And then I can go to other areas and it feels a little bit different. But everywhere you go, you can feel a certain energy. It's history there. That history doesn't determine how you interact with society, but it does have some type of shifting field there that you can latch on to if you're not careful. So that's what we were saying was like be careful, even the people you're around, be careful just to be mindful, always have that inside of your head, okay, this person is trying to do this. Because like we said, the spiritual attacks are gonna become higher, higher, higher.
Yeah, and that
And
it talks about that in the Bible too, as one of the prophecies of the end times, that
yeah,
a family would turn against family, and the energy right now is like a real quick reaction energy. Like see something, believe it. See something, speak on it. See something, establish it. Do something about it instead of a marinate. Kind of let it marinate and meditate on it and wait and be patient. Like especially with platforms and so many people uh so quick to be the first one to say something about something instead of
yeah,
taking our time and allowing ourselves to study and to be acquainted and familiar with what's happening, and also to take in consideration our own experiences, like you said, with other people.
yeah,
We have to be careful. Even you never know in the times we live in right now. You never know. People are acting crazy. People are upside down and nuts, and people can turn real quick. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure. And it's like we got to know how to deal with that. We can't just like instantly react because like that could put you in a quantum universe. Okay, so yeah, God knows how many multiple paths you can go down, and you can go down a path that could potentially lead you to a place where you don't really need to be. And I know it's like, okay, what's fate? And what's destiny? If it's your destiny to go that day, then you're gonna go regardless. But I'm saying like it's scenarios where like if let's not walk down the road where gunshots is happening every day and we can survive a little bit longer. Or let's walk down the road where it's a little bit safer. So all I'm saying is like it's certain things we can do to prevent things. And it's not like every scenario is guaranteed that you have no
Being
control. Okay,
glasses,
here's the guy I was
I've
telling you
always
all
been
about.
super curious.
So check this out.
Electromagnetism.
So, okay, this man went missing after he created a device to see interdimensional beings, supposedly. I looked up the patent on this too. I'm gonna try to pull that up afterwards. He has some type of glasses where the glasses allow him to see into the different dimensions. And like you can see some of these things right here on screen. And the
Right.
man who the man who went missing, it was a photo I had of him. And I want to try to pull that up. So let's pull up the patent. And we're gonna try to pull up this patent so you don't just be like, all right, what are you talking about here? Like you ain't showed us nothing. So the patent is right here. I'm gonna show you. It's gonna pull up because for a few seconds there, the screen wouldn't pull up certain things, but now it's starting to pull up things again. So here's the patent, and that's the guy they just showed his face. Three-dimensional molecular imaging. by infrared laser ablation, electrospray, ionizing mass spectrometry. So it's this three-dimensional imaging device. It's no different like whenever they they got these devices where they detect spirits and it's like you can in the atmosphere. Well, they had some where they can look and supposedly the guy went up missing. You can see the names down there for the people, but it's not the same person. And it was just some stuff coming out of the sky too. This was in what was the name of this area right here? Um,
Amarillo.
Amarillo. Okay. Somebody said this. I noticed small light in the sky that was moving from place to place fast in ways that were not of an airplane. It would move fast at some point. It would disappear and reappear. It moved almost like a bug flying quickly back and forth. It stayed in the same area, but when moving, it was like it would flash in one spot and almost jump to another, as if it was virtual doors opening and it was jumping through and ended up at a different location, realm hop.
Yes.
Talk about that one.
Hey, so I there's something that's I mean, it could be all kinds of things, but since I study plasma physics and electricity and electromagnetism and stuff, and correlate that with, you know, or incorporating like UFO sightings and ghost sightings and stuff like that, there's something called transient luminous events. Transient
Yeah.
luminous events up in the upper atmosphere. It's like we're used to seeing lightning, which is also a transient luminous event. It's something that just happens and flashes really quickly. But like I said, with all these gases building up, going higher up into the atmosphere, if our world is developing a charge right now, getting ready to release that charge, then it stands to reason that those gases would become ionized, like it was talking about ionization. We
Yeah.
would see these little lights. There's different types of transient luminous events. The most commonly known ones are sprites. You see those, they're like little jellyfish lightning up in the sky. They're usually red, and they
Mhm.
billow out on the bottom, and then they come to a little pinch in the middle, and then they billow back out on the top. And then there's also blue jets and just huge columns and pillars of blue ionized gases that rise high up into the atmosphere, and they change colors as they go through the different layerings of gases. And then we'll have pixies. Pixies are these little flashes, these little balls. They're plasmoids, and they flicker just like paparazzi lightning. I mean, there is paparazzi lightning, but they flicker like a camera flash or something, like little balls that just flicker, and then they can jump. They can jump just like electricity can do. It'll go from here, it'll disappear, and all of a sudden it'll be over here. To me, I see the telltale signs of increased electricity in the atmosphere, the lightning getting stronger and more powerful. Did you see that video of the lightning that's coming up out of that volcano? That lightning that was striking that volcano over and over and over again.
Where I think I seen what was the name of the volcano? You remember?
Uh, I have it. You want me to share it? I got it pulled up right now.
Definitely.
Okay.
I think I do. I have to remove this for you to share it.
Let me see. I'm just gonna click present, share screen, and
I have to remove
check
that.
this out. And then you'll just approve it as soon as I click on this. One sec.
All right, cool.
All right, boom.
Okay, I
Now
see
you
it.
just approve it, and then everybody should see it.
All
All right,
right.
so check this out. Watch this. This is insane. Watch it, because this is especially interesting for me because of I talk about my theory of plasma volcanoes and how these volcanoes will emit these gases if the Earth does just depressurize on the inside and it expels all those gases out at one time, and our atmosphere does too. And these are the places where all those gases would rush out, and that static electricity would cause them to ionize, and you would have a lightning attack on a volcano. Check this out.
Wow. This was recently?
You see that? I don't know if you can hear the audio, but I was trying to mute it.
No, it was no audio.
Okay, good. All right, so check this out. It goes on for a second here. Yeah, this lightning goes in, and it's just you see that it came up out of the volcano. This is
Yeah,
the gases that are becoming ionized. They're just following the electromagnetic paths of least resistance. You see that?
yeah. So it's like it's shooting out of the volcano, and then it's like you can see static electricity in the atmosphere.
Yeah, this is to me, this is just evidence of the increase of energy that's happening in our world as it goes into flux, the gases being released out of the earth that leads to explosions, eruptions, sinkholes, and the like. More, of course, more eruptions from volcanoes and stuff too. But then those gases get up into the atmosphere. They can combust. They can also combust in just random places where there are no people, but there's a lot of cavernous systems. And if they do that, and they're in a place where, I don't know, a forest can catch on fire or there's brush or something, then you have wildfires the world across in random places, and no one knows how they're starting. No one knows, and they want to blame people not putting out a campfire or matches or a cigarette that's still lit as they throw it out of their car window or something.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these are the omens that are happening in this world right now. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but
All right. Yeah. If you have any other things you're gonna share, you can share it too. So yeah, like it's increasing. So it's strange though. It's like they said the month of July was the month of chaos and all this stuff, and so it was like whenever they did the Olympics, I feel like they already knew that, so they wanted to just circle up in a line around the energy, so then they could use that and try to harness that against us. But it's like it also could be a reverse thing where if we can see that, now we have the ability to defend ourselves better instead of just reacting to certain scenarios or things that happen. Even me, like I mean, I could see something pop up. Maybe I'm saying something that's like totally not 100% accurate on some events, and I understand, like obviously I'd say, hey, you tell me what you think. I say that all the time because I don't want to just present a narrative. I want you to look at it and see it for what it is, because we've been presented too many narratives, and I think people are tired of that. It's time for us to just have a discussion and just decode things, and that's why I was decoding a lot of the events just the other day. I was talking about how they released that biodefense video, and they show how they was going to drop something on Biden, and then when they dropped it on him after that, then it was like, oh, the president's in the hospital. And meanwhile, this was dropped 3 months before it even happened. And so he did go to the hospital. He came back. We don't know if it's him. He's taller than he usually is. And then now they're saying like they wanna they wanna manifest the pandemic once again, because they always do this around election time. So it's like it's kind of like symbolic, and it's kind of like really easy to see the patterns that they present to us. But what's
yeah,
not easy to see is just a global pushback, and most people are just like, oh, well, it's just, whatever. We have to go by and get by, or what are we going to do? I'm just one person. Well, one person becomes 1,000 people. What if 1,000 people stood up? What if 2,000 people stood up? What if 5,000 people stood up? And that could be spread out. Let's say you went into a store and it was like, you got armed guards with guns, and you ain't coming into this store. Nobody's coming in. You got to
yeah,
accept the mark. You got to accept it. And if you don't accept it, the mark could be coming in different forms. Who knows what they'll do at this point technologically? And I know
yeah,
people say it's going to be in the hand or forehead. Well, yeah, it could be that. But I'm saying, what are you going to do at that point? Is
yeah.
people going to like scatter and run and then be like, ah, or something like that? Or are they going to just
Yeah,
say, you know what? We ain't going to accept this. We ain't going to accept you doing this. I could see scenarios where people would just leave and say, you know what, I got friends who took the mark of the beast anyway. They can give me some groceries. I ain't dying for it. But the thing is, it's like other paths for it would be like for a society at large to stand up and just say, hey, look, you think that you're going to defend something like this? How's your family going to end up in the end of this? How you got a gun in your hand right now? Even if you don't have any family right now, how are you going to end up in the end of this? And then
yes,
it becomes the other question: are these truly demons inside of the flesh? Because if it is, there is no talking at that point. It's kind of
uh-huh,
like the movie what's it They Live, and they show the demon
yeah.
inside the cops and stuff.
And they
So at
have
that
those same
point,
glasses too.
yeah. So at that point, it's kind of a little bit more complex, and I think that is actually what's happening in a lot of cases now. We're dealing with people that are not even human, like, and maybe if they were human, they left their humanity a long time ago, and their soul. And that's why I say, like, just honestly, getting baptized is important in my view. It's not even just a thing where, oh, it's religious, because Native Americans did this too, and a lot of people don't talk about it. But purifying your soul is important because you latch on to so many things going out in the public, so many spirits, so many entities, and they're floating ideas, and they're trying to talk to you, and they're telling you this and they're telling you that. But the power to resist that
Yeah.
is to get to know yourself even more and to get to know how to interact with just everything and to actually be mindful of how you act when you do something and just like, wait a minute. This is
Right.
not me. This is not me. And I think a lot of people in today's world think it is them, and they're like, because every time you hear a story of somebody murdering somebody, they say most of them say, "I heard something tell me to do this. God told me to do this." No, it's not God. It's the dark side, because death in any form or way shouldn't happen. Self defense is different, but whenever it comes down to just out flat cold blooded murder, that's a different story. Self
Yeah.
defense is also, it's like many cases when a child is about to be harmed or something like that happen, or a family member, and you're supposed to take action because it's what's the scripture? The man who lays down his life for his friends or something like that, or family, because obviously there comes a time and season where things change, and we have to stand for the defense of our own physical being. And the spiritual aspect of that is that these beings have tried to attack us so much, so much, so much, so much, and some of it don't work. A lot of us got a lot of protection over us, and we know that. But we have to be the ones that extend that field of energy out into the world so that we can actually bring, like, it's like when one of us is feeling a certain way, and then this energy, people say, "Oh, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling this." That
Yeah.
means the world at large is unbalanced and the energy is
Yes.
unbalanced.
I feel
So
that too all the time. I can sense the world's energy. I can
yeah,
feel all those people. You know how like Professor X has that helmet deal he puts on and he could like sense all the mutants in the world or whatever. I feel that so much. I like sometimes the anxiety I get, that's not my anxiety. That's
yeah,
everybody else's anxiety. It's just resonating through me because it's everywhere because the world collects those vibrations and it goes through me and I'm intuitive and I pick up on it or empathetic or however you want to describe it. But the people, it's positive and negative. It's electromagnetic. It's spiritual. It's energetic. It's ethereal, and it's happening to us and within us, and we're a part of it. Like you said, going to the store. What are people going to do? Most of the people they're referred to as sheep. Jesus called them, basically referred to them as sheep. He's the good shepherd. If there's a good shepherd, there's a bad shepherd, right?
yeah,
So here's what happens whenever sheep are going and there's an obstacle in the way and they're running in line. They can't see the obstacle. Only the first sheep can see that obstacle. So when I'm leaving Walmart and there's some guy out there sticking his hand out insisting that he check my receipt because he thinks I'm a thief and I stole everything, I'm that
yeah.
first sheep. And there's four people right behind me, and I just put my hand up. I'm like, nah, I'm busy, man. Thanks. Have a nice day. And I just keep on going because I know I'm a good person. I didn't steal anything. I bought what I bought, and I do have my receipt just in case they, have an issue and then they want to get people involved. I'll show them the receipt. But I don't have to do that. I don't have to stop. And then the people behind me are those sheep that are going to jump over that object, or they're going to stop and back everybody else up. I'm the shepherd in that situation where I'm going to jump over the obstacle and keep on moving forward. Other people don't know what to do. They are constantly looking in this time in the age we live in, they're looking for leadership, examples, somebody to blaze that trail and to make it, to teach them how to blaze a trail so that eventually they can go off path and they can blaze their own trail.
Yeah, and that to me, I get that, but it's like it becomes annoying because it's like you got to be willing to put yourself in that situation. To me, the way I'm wired is like I can't wait on somebody to do something for me, and I just have to
Right.
do like I just have to like I'm built to resist. I'm designed to resist in the spiritual aspect. And it's like not just resistant because I just want to do it, is because inside of my soul, when I feel the resonating energy of something is not correct, then I can't go with it. I just can't. I feel
Right.
it. It's a rising energy. Yeah, it's the senses, man. And like it's like even before, it was like some event that happened just a couple weeks ago. And this is crazy because it was right before that event where Trump, they shot Trump's ear. It was some event that basically happened in the current area close to me. And I was outside and I just sensed in the atmosphere. I was like, gunshots? Like, what's this feeling? Like, what's this? And I could kid you not, like, it would happen for like 2 days. I would go outside at night and I would just feel like, oh my God, like gunshots. And I don't get scared or nothing like that. And then it was that same weekend where somebody ended up getting shot, and then they died. And I was like, man, that's what I was sensing in the atmosphere. And then the person's family member actually on the alignment just came to talk to me. And then I was just talking to him about everything that I knew and all the details. And it's crazy because it's like every moment you're in a specific moment for a specific purpose at a specific time, and everything is happening for a reason. Like even right now, everybody tuning in, you're here for a reason. We're in this reality for a reason, and the purpose that you have is so much higher than we know. And like in order for us to step into that, we got to be willing to step out of just our comfort zone sometimes and just actually analyze who we are as a person. I think the biggest problem is people can't see themselves. And I think like I see from multi different levels. I look at myself from first, second, and third perspective, and I look at how I treat people from first, second, third perspective, and I want to make change. And it's to that ever evolving journey of always wanting to make change as things shift is the way for us to actually move forward, is the way for us to actually reclaim like certain parts, elements of our soul. Now, people will try to manipulate that. So I am at the core about change and growth, but I am not a naive, manipulative person. Just because you see me do something doesn't mean I'm going to let people run over me. Because a lot of people will. They, like, let's say that line of people you was talking about, they see you help somebody. I remember this one time I was in the line. It was this one person who said, "I got to get to work. I got to do this, man. I'm gonna be late. This and that, and who knows?" But it was a whole group of people, line of people, and I let them go. And they was like all pissed off at me, and I just like ignored them. And it was like, "Well, you're gonna let me go in front of you? You gonna let me go?" I was like, "Listen, he had a situation. I sensed it in myself. I felt it. Nobody else is gonna go. This person needed to go. It was a long line, so."
Yes.
You gonna let that man go? This, that. I'm just like ignoring everybody and just like acting like they don't even exist. Because for the most part, they don't. Because when it comes to real action in the world, they're
Yeah.
not there. I'm standing up for the right causes, and then people get mad when you do the right thing.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
can't you can't be worried about that either, though.
Or
It's
I
like,
mean, evil people get mad when you do the right thing. So
yeah,
if I saw it, I would that would make my day. That would make
yeah,
my day. Man. And then some people who might be on the fence, maybe you just inspired them to do something similar. Like you ever have
yeah.
somebody pay for you in the drive-through, like the person in front of you, like. I mean, it happens to me every once in a while. They're like, "Hey, go ahead. That person in front of you paid for your order or
That's
whatever."
cool.
Yeah, and these are things we can sense too. Like some of the stuff you were saying reminded me of a biblical prophecy. There's a prophet named Joel. I got it pulled up here, and it was so important that it was repeated in the New Testament in the book of Acts. It says, um, "It shall come to pass in the last days, says God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." This is talking to the righteous. "And your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." This correlates, like I said, as there's an increase in an evil energy in the world, and it seems like it's the majority. There's a remnant of good energy that energy also becomes kind of amplified. And then the whole dreaming dream things. My son woke up the other day and he was like, "Dad, I had this crazy dream," and he was like, I walked into this building, someplace called SpaceX, and he was talking about, he didn't know what SpaceX was, but he was dreaming about SpaceX, and he told me, I was like, "Tell me about your dream. Tell me the rest of that dream."
That's interesting. Like, how's the dreams been for? Like, I know, like sometimes I get these dreams. One of the dreams was that I seen recently. It was this huge like pod coming up, and like before I left, I was talking to my mom, whatever. She has all these dreams and visions and stuff. She talked about, oh, she's seen troops and stuff like that. Okay, I seen this big, huge, like it looked like a like let's say it was Project Bluebeam, but it's not Project Bluebeam. It's just regular troops, but they got technology where it's this huge ship came up, and I'm like getting away from this ship, and then all of a sudden, like, because I was like rebelling for some reason against something, then they dropped down. They got these like high tech suits on, and like I'm running from it. But then eventually, like they negotiated, and it was like trying to like get me to calm down. And eventually, at the end of it all, I'm like putting my hands out and getting these high tech handcuffs on, and it's weird. It's like, wait a minute, like the scenario of me just like giving up like that is just weird because I think I get it. I know why I did because I was surrounded and it was no point. Because like I said, whenever you see there's no way out, and that's another tactic they want you to see there's no way out, and then at that point is when you give up. because like they had like robotoid suits on. Like, what am I supposed to do at that point when you're just walking around and you see
Wow.
some? Yeah, that's how it was in the dream. So that dream was crazy.
Hey, did you hear
Um,
Elon wants to put out a humanoid robot in for every person on the planet? Like that's the goal, is to put one humanoid robot. I forgot what they call the like his version, but it's just a humanoid robot. One person. He wants to put one for every person in the planet right now. And then think about this: the fertility rates are all dropping. Every
yeah.
country across the world, all the fertility rates are dropping. So let's say his plan is to match every human with a humanoid robot right now, based on right now's population. But then the human population drops off. We're outnumbered.
So,
Everybody has all these robots everywhere.
so wait a minute. You saying like he's like he want everybody to have a humanoid robot like in their house or something? Like he's
Yeah.
assigning. Dude, that's like the Rocky, not Rocky, but or the Jetsons or whatever. Eventually, they assign a robot to everybody, and then that robot could become friend or foe. I mean, who knows at that point? That could be like the easiest way to like control the population as well.
Hmm.
Shoot, I mean, who's gonna accept them robots like that though? They might make it mandatory.
I don't know, but I know that if they can update my phone and update my laptop and my desktop, they sure the hell can update a robot and to change it so that it acts in different ways that people aren't used to, and it can go outside of its whatever parameters. And pretty soon,
Yeah,
1984, all the movies, science fiction, iRobot, it's all happening.
for real, that's definitely. And then they got the ones where it's like they have these little solar controlled ones, and then it's like half human, half robot, and then some of it is like flesh in there, and then like basically they put a brain inside of one of them, so it's not even gonna be a robot at this point. It's gonna be a hybrid human. It's gonna have, and then as soon as they put a heart in there, because like they already did with the supercomputer, but the supercomputer got activated right during the solar eclipse. Interesting enough, and nobody's talking about it now because it's just like, oh, we activated it, and it has a sixth sense because it has a brain, and so now it can sense in the field of energy, kind of like us. So the
Yeah.
mainframe computer would be that computer, which is somewhere it says deep south, and it's somewhere in Australia,
Hmm.
and so that would be like the mainframe computer base. And it's like if you've seen that, I don't know if you watched Dragon Ball Z before, but it's this episode where they have the cyborgs coming out, and then whenever it gets hurt, the mainframe computer helps it regenerate its arms and legs and everything
Yeah.
else. And you got to destroy the mainframe computer
Yes.
for everything to stop happening.
Because it's a hive mind.
Yeah,
It reaches out and it can communicate. They all have similar thoughts.
yeah, freaking crazy, man. But I feel like the way forward for us is like whatever happens in this reality, the simulations, everything they're doing, it's just for us to really conquer our own like inabilities to see our own self. And as this increasing shift happening in the world, this is either a new beginning or it could be an end. And it's just a perspective of how we view everything.
Could
Because
be both.
every society, had they're coming to an end. But as we've seen, the cycles kept repeating and we kept moving on. Some people think this is the last time of this chapter in this part of our reality. And we could be, or it could be another chapter after this. How do we have all the answers? We personally don't know. But either way, whatever is written right now is going to determine our spiritual reality and our next existence. So that's why I think it's very important that we focus highly on that. We try to shift ourselves. We try to love each other as much as possible. We also try to distance ourselves from people who are trying to bring us down. And every time we try to bring them up, because you can't bring somebody up who's pulling you down into a dark portal every time. It's like trying to save a demon who just want to be a demon. So like at that point, what are you
Right.
doing? So
Good point.
I feel like that's where we're at right now. And as everything has come in 2024, it was really a crazy cataclysmic. And it's not over with 2024, but it's just the cataclysmic events was just really ramped up. And I feel like the overwhelming scenario of that is us overthinking everything. And sometimes, like even after these streams, I'm done doing this. I'm just calming down. I'm just relaxing. I'm just Obviously, constantly researching to make sure I get out this information for you all here, and just balancing myself. So if a lot of people think I'm impermeating fear, but I'm not impermeating fear because I've seen just damaging things my entire life. I've seen entities, I've seen spirits, I've been attacked, feel like electric shocks, and uh, been in the middle of paralysis and learned so many different things, left my body before, so much to the spiritual reality. I should do a whole video on it, but I just haven't done it. Maybe that'll be another thing I'll do one day if people think I should. But at the last points of us bringing the civilization and our spiritual self to the right place, Jay, what's your points that you think? That'll be our last part till we close out.
Yeah, right on. What you just said reminded me again of one of the old prophets from the Old Testament. There was something, a quote that was said from Hosea, and he says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I also will reject thee." And for me, that's the whole fear portion of it. People are free to be afraid. They're free to have courage. They're free to feel and react however they want to. But I have found personally that so many things I used to be afraid of or have anxiety over or worry about have been dissipated throughout this truth seeking path that I've been on as I acquire knowledge after knowledge after knowledge and come up with theories and ideas. And I learn how to be better prepared and to treat myself better and how to be cautious in the world that I live in. I'm better equipped now, and I'm much less afraid as a human and as an individual than the J Dreamers of 20 years ago. I'm
Yeah,
doing a lot better because my knowledge, my looking into these things has cast light into the dark.
exactly. And I think that's the biggest point here. And that's really the upbringing. Like 5 years ago, yeah, I was way more scared than I am right now. It's just a different age and day right now. If you look in the comment section right now, you'll find Jay Dreamer's channel. Everybody, we'll also have a link dropped at the bottom of the comment section inside the video, so that you can check out Jay Dreamer's. He does some really good videos here. He probably got some coming up today. He talked about one of the other videos that was a little popular. It was the firmament video he did recently. And so that's the thing here. We're here to try our best to make change, to bring each other up, and not infight, because there's too much infighting going on. Whether it's inside of the comment section, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's big channels, just pushing out this the entire infighting game, while the dark forces are lining up against us in every way possible. And so I think that as we evolve as people, as spirits, as souls, that's going to be a key point in like actually having a direction forward to how we're going to manage society, going through these personal experiences and energetic experiences, and even the end goals and the end times that's coming. We have to be ready and prepared spiritually for this, because it's going to be a different timeline. But as these timelines always have brought even more powerful souls, in the end of it all, the ancestors who resonated with the light and they went with God and they did the right thing, we'll see them all again. We just have to achieve our goal here right now. So we have been put here for a reason, and that reason must be served. So thanks for all for tuning in, Jay Dreamers. Check him out. Check his channel out right after this, and we'll have a lot more coming. And I appreciate you all for tuning in today.